Recover! There we go.
Go with it, go with it, go with it! I'm here, Joe, I'm here, Joe. On now! Go there! Yeah, play, play! Yep, come and see it, it's fine. Gotcha! Let it on!
Move the ball! Webby, sit! Webby! Lachlan, too high. I need you to pivot, all right? You'll get out. You do your job.
Get on the ball. Adam, Brady, take a step up. Hey! Go! Come on, stay there. Ready, tuck in, Brent!
Unlucky lads, Joey. Good work, sir. Go, work!
Come on!
Nice start!
Ready, hold.
Good. Joey, start.
Stay. Go. Can we flick it on? Flick on! Do it!
He said that on it.
Stay 9, Carter. Stay 9, Carter.
I'm ready. Yep, do that. Hey. 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 Good time. Good. Get up. Get up. Get up. Good. Breathe down, Blake.
Go on, big boy. Where you go?
Blake, drive. Relax yourself, Blakey.
Get in front. Bottom, bottom, get in front. Second. Good. Good, good, good.
Brandon. Which one? Travel forward, forward, free! Hey, win! Adam, recover!
Yeah, I'm coming now. Where are you?
Drop! Go! Do it now! Carter, back to go! Bob, stay out!
Just checking before he comes on.
Knock into the keeper. Joey, keeper.
Yeah.
Win it, Carter, strong. Strong. Good, strong.
Win!
Good.
Come back! Cut it off, cut it off! Go right, look! Go higher! Go higher! Oh, Jack Brown, right shoulder, Blake, come on, let's go! Ready, right shoulder! Run, hold up! Pass, get over! Give it to him! Get up! Go!
Get in front! Kelly, release the ball! Release the ball!
Tommy! Stand up. Sort it out. Okay. Yep. Right, Joe, come on! Come on! Have it now! Over here! Come on, Carter, well done. Come on, push on, push on, push on! Push on! Stop fucking way! Get lads! Come on, Joe. Second!
They go Maitland scoring on 27, Charlestown, Maitland 1, Charlestown 0.
Win the ball, second ball. Brownie, second ball. Good boy, Graham. Yes, Carter in again. Come on, yeah. Good going, Brownie. Grant Brown, go again. Stand up. Again, Brownie. Good that, Brown. Grant Brown, well done. Come on, Brownie. Take a touch, Brownie. Come on. Let's recover, Grant. Let's recover. Unlucky, buddy. Great quality ball, son. Got to be aware of that. Brownie, unreal. Keep moving the ball quick and short. Eh? Go, Carter, go. Just in the channel. Play!
Watch me. Everybody get up, boys. Get up.
Gotta read what's going on here.
Yeah, one more. Joey, Louis.
Channel.
Win. Better. Come on.
Win a bog to boys.
Yep. Play it. Adam, let's show it.
Get up. Louis, drop. Blake, drop in.
Just in front of the ball for me.
I'll go in front of the ball.
Just one. The wins with it. Hey! Come right! Yeah! Away, lads! Ready? Adam, let's go! Right! Stay up here! Cast the shoulder! Hey! Adam, let's shoulder! Brilliant, Tom! Good! Yeah! Hey! Second time, watch it! Wait!
Forward, Joey. Maitland. Did he wave away the offside?
Yeah. Play shot.
Go sharp.
Yeah, just play by one of your blokes. Wait. Right, let's go again, lads. Play the win. Forward, no.
Forward, Carter.
Well done. Foggy on the way. That's fine. That's got to be. You get it. Well done, boys. Go, Lou. Again, well done.
Go, Joey.
Ready, Adam.
Joey, sit. Joey, sit if Webby's gone, please. Just delay, Webby, just delay.
1, 2, bounce. Joey, right.
Joey, stay right.
Joey, right.
Stay right, Joey.
Yes,
Just in front, Brownie, your job's done. Just in front. Good boy. Well done, son.
Don't let him go.
Yes, Carter. Hey! No! We had front position.
Go, cover. Turn the face. Well done, Carter.
Unlucky, Carp. Go again. Get on out of the ball, son.
Go.
Go!
Now we get up! Head up! Hard back! Listen, Nazi! Let Joey! Shot attack!
Harder, strong, Joe, short one.
Why's he got time there?
Good, under. Brilliant.
Hey!
Good stuff, lads. Good footy. Good out.
Well done, man.
Yeah, mate, yep.
Come on. Levy!
Open up.
Open up! Where are we playing?
Louis, get the ball.
I'll play hard.
Hey! Louis! Give it to Louis!
Go wide, Grant. Gotta keep it. Adam's on. Yeah.
Brandy, closer. Back.
Ready, good talk, man.
Turn, time! Lucky!
Lovely ball, son. Hard now. Control.
Joey, go on, Joey. You got him, son. Good boy. Get in the box. Don't sell. Don't sell.
No foul. Left round, left shoulder. Randy's got two. Joey must win. Get up. Up. Good. Randy, three. Good, Brandy. Up again. Randy, well done. Good, Brandy. Better work here, lads. Go, up we get. Up we get. Up.
Go right, Bob.
Go left. Stay up. Tom! Randy's yours. Strong play.
Good, Carter. Unlucky, son. Go again. Blakey, one!
Hold his task! Adam, right shoulder! Right shoulder! Good. Grab Brandon, three. Go right. Alright, well done, lads. Well done. Unlucky play. Good. Yeah. Nice. Good. Line. Good. Right. Look, wide. Right, off. Get back in position, Carter. Come on. Carter, leave it. Send him this way now, Clark.
Go to the ball, Cock, go to the ball.
Yep. Go. Right. Now give it. Keep going. Hey! Good.
Relax.
Let's drop. Do you want going?
Grant, relax.
Come on, sit for. 18. Tommy, you got it. 23. Yep. 18, got to push early. Long Bob. Carter. Good, how you go? Under it. Yep.
Go on, Randy. Go on, son. Joey, get there.
Yes.
Great ball, Brownie. Carter, brilliant son. Yeah. Referee. Go left. Yep, through there. Ready, right shoulder. Hey, Blakey, gather points for me, yeah?
Brownie, you're up. Brownie, you're off him. Go. Come on, Dion. Brownie behind now. Brownie, switch on. Louis, left shoulder. Brownie, left, drop. Brownie, keep on. Go on, Carter.
Carter, in front of the ball, son, or lock the fight. Get in front of the ball. Yeah, jockers. Nice and tight, Carter, good man. Up and in, Brownie.
Here, go.
Carter, just go get in front of the 6, yeah? That's all right, he's good. No, leave him now, he's good. Joey's got him.
Good job. Yes, Chucky. Pass my shoulder. Yes. Out of there. Well done, Brownie. Pass, good, Brad. Good. Carter, stick. Yeah, you got to go in. You got that. Yes. Hayden. What's the foul for?
Blake, in front of the ball.
Leave it. Mark up. One person in front of
On your bike, son, on your bike. One more out. Louis Webby, one out. Swing it back, Louis, swing it back, son. Feed it back, Joe, feed it back, Joe, feed it back. That'll do. Middle. Get over, Louis.
Come across, come on. Pass left. Louis,
sit for me.
Granny, hold right. That's Brown, right.
Louis sitting. Grant, you're right.
Granny,
Good, now we're good, now we're good.
Stop, left. Down, play. Down. Up. Lily.
Unlucky, Louis. Unlucky, son. Wrist in shape, come on, get there.
Yeah, good. Yeah, let it go long. Squeeze in here. Boys. Jenny. You went in. Good. Come across the blue. Lovely. Get off!
Jamie, quickly! Jamie, quickly! Quickly!
Jamie, get higher! Go!
Actually, you know who was here last week? Dean. Dean, I spoke to you for heat. He was here last weekend. I know. That's why he's out again. Didn't say no. I didn't say no.
Ron knows it because she works with her.
I'm going to screw him over again. Is that what you're saying?
So he was up here. Oh, man. We've been at it. Did you? G'day, how you going? Good. He still plays good. He's a good player. Young bloke.
Oh, they're all hungover.
So was it good?
Thomas and all that were, yeah.
So was it good? Did you? And they were down there. Was Melissa there? Was she?
Ask her about me.
Why'd you give it to her?
No, she couldn't stop laughing at her. Get up there with it. Tell Bernie, I don't want to say anything.
Ah, no, it's all right. It's all right.
Tell me that.
You You don't have to. You don't have to. It's all good.
There's look at there's another at William that
Did she see you?
Yeah.
Was she talking to you? Didn't she?
No, she didn't say anything.
Yeah, I
We had a good time, didn't we? We laughed at it. And he said, Carly said to me, this time, this oh, yeah, like just dressing the hair and everything else.
Yeah.
Did you have a sleep in this morning, Joey? You didn't have to get here early.
Oh, no, I wasn't even going to come. I wasn't even going to come. I had to go to
Oh, really?
I had to go for them all. They do nothing to help, but want everything in return. I've got the third letter from
Sounds
school
like our
about Thomas.
family.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Third letter from school about
What?
I told him I was not doing homework, did assessments, all this stuff, and he wants to go to Bali for school, he's a paper flight. And I sort of said today, well, it's all cancelled, I'm not doing anything, you can pay your $500 back. Rang Matt up here and said, I do, I was driving the baby car at Mo's after the mother last night. Because I just found that eaten up letter in the mailbox today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, half of it. But it said, 2 assessments not handed in and not concentrated in the past. And I asked him about his homework assessments. He said, oh, they're on Tennyson's computer. Yeah. It's like you make it
You sitting up here or you staying down there?
I'm getting a sausage thing.
Yeah, the boys have cooked them well tonight today.
Yeah. The boys come with Matt this morning.
Oh, early. Yeah, I've stuffed around. I haven't felt well all week, so that's why I didn't do it last night. Jeff said, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
So I thought, yeah, good, I don't really want to either.
Yeah, after that I ended up going to Wicker Hotel because the girls were all at Wicker Hotel. So I had like a band fest there all day yesterday and last night. So after Warners I went into Wicker, I got home at 2 o'clock this morning. Yeah, it was good. They had a band playing all the time. So yeah, no, we had a good night.
So I don't know how she does it now. What's the name for doing it? Does it morning?
Yeah, she came for a while. She left about, I don't know, 11:30 I think Georgia came.
Oh, really?
She got there earlier. It started like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but she got there about 4. And I got there, I don't know, it's after 9. So, yeah. That was good. Very good.
Yeah, I'm not staying. I can clean up the barbecue and do nothing.
You're just going to watch this game and
Go
go?
home with Pop. Yep, and then lay on the lounge and watch. Yeah. I've got to clean up a bit.
You going down to Warners later with everybody?
Oh, see, they want maybe just to get up. I'll see you got
Yeah, Matt was saying last night he wants all the teams to go down and his friends and
they've got
family.
it.
Yeah, we'll go down and whatever. Because I think even though he's going to take some time off work today to go down after his game after Warners for a bit. Because normally he goes straight from here after his game, he takes off, he normally starts at 4 o'clock or 3:30.
How do you go get that?
He just swapped or started a bit later with somebody.
He's going
Goes to here, I haven't seen him. He'd be still in Sydney. He'd be making the most of that. The trip down there, he'll probably get home tonight, you know. Yeah. They've probably got things planned today in Sydney, I'd say, if they're down there. Oh, they're playing crap, aren't they? I know, Maitland's all over them, aren't they? Maitland's just getting in there and they just get in and tackle. They're not scared to get in and do anything, Maitland. Yeah, get in there and go for it. So what time did Tom stay at a party last night? Did he come home?
Oh, no, 4 o'clock I woke up and the car wasn't there and I went to pick him up in his bed and he was home.
Yeah.
I don't know when he got home. Friday. When can we play? It's about 7 weeks, hasn't it?
You've still got a while to go, yeah.
I mean, no, both.
Oh, Bo's a couple of weeks. I think after Easter, I think he's got a few weeks spare. So that's too many weeks to go now, Bo. Because next weekend they've got a bye, I think.
Oh, that works out well for Easter, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've got a bye. Liam's the young boys, so they've got a game on Friday.
Yeah. Well, Thomas Payne played last week Friday, I remember that.
I'll come and see you when before the game finishes anyway. Okay, I'll come and see you soon.
Any changes?
Recover! Wait. Good. That's the play. Wait seconds!
Go, Blake. Mine. Hayden, mine. Come on.
Get under.
Second leg.
Relax, Jamie, relax. Joey getting close to sun, moving the boxes out of there.
Come in. Joey. Just drop 2, Hayden.
Seconds. Brilliant, Webby.
There's a free kick out that way.
Go play for second nine. Central tap, central tap. Just sit inside the central sun, alright? Where's he going to go, referee? Where is he going to go?
two.
Gee, Yates, I thought you were up front.
Gatesy, tell Joe he's now a defender, all right? No going forward, yeah?
Options for him. Put on him. Coming. Yep. Well done. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Let's say Louis. Sorrel. Forward. Keep head down. What? Hey mate, eyes up. Keep your head.
Look, you're ready to go and fix your standard.
All day. Step up. Box him in. Roll. Head on. Forward.
Ready? Boy, you too.
Look at the feeding tackle. Second defender, Adam. Well done, Tass. You're joking!
They did it differently though. They usually plan to start it, and then they got sticky tape. The first month, the whole tape, sticky tape, and then they were like, no, I'm scared. But then like, if your eyes stuff, they don't start, and then they right at the bottom all the time. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's if you get a couple of drops on your eyes and arm, but like you know exactly what's going on. Yeah. It's freaky, but
Like I just every now and again I think
Drop it in! Drop it in, keep dropping! There you go, get his head down! Get his head down!
yeah. It's like I need it.
mine are also. Mine were. I was meant to do 400 second hand operation. After they started checking my eye, they tested my eye. Okay, and it was 390 marks. I was past.
Yeah, well done. Step early, Andy.
They got to contact him at the moment, so
That's all right, is it two? Yep. Why are you yelling? Thank you, Coach. That's enough, thank you.
oh, sorry, I was talking to you.
And you know when I'm going to well, it's pretty evident in your stuff. Coach, that's offside by 2 metres.
Get on the hay. Let's go, boys. Keep pushing. Step back up. Now. Let's keep pushing. Oh, you push on one, and I'll sit this side. Strong, Jacket, strong! Yes. Come on, set up. Who we got? One of you. Yeah, good stuff. Hey, move. Go attack. Go on, keep going. Early if you can. Back in.
Put on the ball, Webby. Put on the ball.
Put on the ball.
Did you get me text?
Yep, Sorrel. Sit down, come again.
Yatesy.
Hayden, go! Get a touch, bring it inside, I'm here. There, boy. Yep, Hayden. Let's stop that, come on. Joe, come on. No. Give him an option. Like this, slide a bit. Push in. Hayden, give it! Come on, win! Hayden! Rod, still on! Come on! Do it! Come it! That's not from behind.
The second goal of Charlestown was scored again by number 10, Bo McDonald. Charlestown City Blues 2, Maitland 1.
Tackle from behind.
Where we want to keep pushing that, come on! Discipline!
Another rule that's changed that I'm not aware of.
Lucky! Let's go! Make the running behind. Get out! Put his man on her. Go on. Someone's got to go back. Get up. Away. Well done, get up. Hard left. Get up. Jake, one to your right. Go to the ball. Too fucking there. Just go, Jock. Get up. Far out. Nice. Good. Nice, Jock. Get back. Cover. Second. Hold in, boys. Get back to defense. Wait! Cover!
You're absolutely looking at it and still didn't blow it.
Get up! Hayden, what ends yours? Stand him up! Hold him up! Yes!
Technically the Charlestown coach that gave that a penalty then, so...
There's Cutter.
Cutter!
It was a good call, eh?
Lock it up. Go deep, big half. Boys, come on, eh? Keep the head. Did you call that? You were
it there. The ball went behind me.
You're on a yellow, no more.
You missed the one up here for their goal.
Go, boys, let's keep getting into it. Keep your head there, keep grinding. Keep working, boys.
Take your head on, mate, Tash. Head on.
Nice. Where we lost? Our job, Ben.
10 minutes.
Oh, too early. Go! Love that task. Keep going, bro. Alright, now we drop it. Now we drop it. Come on, Ed. Right. Up. Out. Up, Vinci. Ready. Come over. I just gotta go long. Hold up.
Adam, get it. Play through the middle.
Yeah, Adam. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Pick up the pace. Do it. Don't see. Oi! Webby! Pick up. Stay tight, lads. Come on, let's go. Get there, Mitchie. Hey! Well, cookies. Come on. Pick up here. Hayden, push up. Get back. Get back.
Go again, mate. Go again. Come on, boys.
Pass to the ball. Come on, Charlie. Let's lift. Come on, boys. First and seconds. Nice one. Who we got? Second. In the height. Yep. Touch the corner. Come on, Stack speed. Hey, drop! Adam Yates. That's it. Ready. Coming right, Jockey, coming right. Behind, yeah. Come on, this one. Come on, Nathan! Move! Work, Come on, get the ball, let's go. Who we got? Who's got it? Go. Ready, come on. I need one. We attack it. Jockers! In the middle there, need a cake. We attack this ball, boys. Come on, boys. Shut up. Wait! Shut up! Get on! Numbers in! Everyone in! Wait. Play the corners! Drop! Luton, drop it! Early movement!
Adam, this is going on defenders through. Alright, Cass, get in. Cass, get in.
Let's go! Up and go! High!
Just hold it, hold.
Joey! Green! Joey's gone. Joey! Get on the ball, son. Cass, sit. Go again, Jockey, go again, son. Go again. Good boy.
Let's roll!
See it, Hayden. Get up. See it, Hayden.
Go.
Hey! Where are you going? Come here. Go Delta!
Hands all over him. Go to corner.
Double Yatesy.
Go corner.
Double.
Love. Good. Go. Jock it and help. Adam. Hey, come on, finish the game off. Press the box. Right. Hey, someone sit. Up, get up. Who's on?
Jamie, get up.
Yeah, go, thanks. Yeah, go. Exactly.
Slow it down. Why the corner?
Final score on that under 26 Charlestown City Blues 2, Maitland 1.
Last year, I think we had 7 coast today.
Yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lyle Carr Oval this afternoon for round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. It's 7th taking on 10th as Charlestown and Maitland look to close in on the top 4. And for both Charlestown and Maitland, their position on the table is somewhat deceptive, but then at the same time it isn't. It's true that watch-outs have made it difficult to gain a bearing on where many sides sit, and for Charlestown, 7th is probably a fair reflection. They've won 2 and lost 2, with many of the sides around them having played an equal number of matches as well. And for Maitland, well, they don't deserve to be 10th. They've started slowly, no wins in their first 2, and Michael Bolcher's men are desperate to ensure that doesn't reach 3 this afternoon. Today, it's 2 sides tipped to duel it out in the race for the top 4, 2 sides who really want to come away from Lyle Carr Oval with 3 points. The question is who gets it, and that's for the next hour and a half of action to the sides. To decide, I should say, to the lineups for the home side Charlestown. Just one change from last week's defeat to Adamstown. 17-year-old Daniel Hughes is replaced by Tom Smart. Blues coach Dave Tancheski has decided to tinker with his 3-5-2 formation that he sent out last weekend. Charlestown will start today with a 4-3-3, which means Pete McPherson pushes into the midfield and Reen Ferguson into the front line. And for Maitland, they drew 1-1 away to the defending champions last Saturday night, a result which pleased coach Michael Balch. That means he makes one alteration, and it's a forced one. Sean Pratt had laser surgery on his eyes during the week and hasn't recovered, so Tom Duggan moves into the starting side. Ryan Clark hasn't played this season, and he will get some minutes off the bench. You can see the 2 captains, Scott Smith from Charlestown on the right, Carl Thornton from the Magpies on the left of referee James Cleal, in charge of this afternoon's clash. And it's a mild day in the Hunter region this afternoon. Temperatures in the low 20s, currently 22 degrees with a southerly breeze blowing. As I was saying, Charlestown sitting on 6 points, a couple of wins and a couple of losses from their opening matches. Their coach Dave Tancheski was frustrated after the defeat to Adamstown last week. For Maitland, Michael Balch, as I said, pleased with the result against Broadmeadow Magic and their final 20 minutes where they really pushed on. Couldn't quite get the 3 points though. So 2 sides who you would expect to be there when the whips are cracking at the back end of the season. And it really needs to start here, because 2 wins and 2 losses for Charlestown isn't the way they wanted to start the campaign. And for Maitland, no wins in their first 2. Here's a similar situation. They can't afford to go no wins inside 3 matches to start the 2019 NPL Northern New South Wales season. You can see in the centre of the park, Maitland's new addition, striker Joel Wood. He's going to get us underway alongside Matt Thompson, the veteran, 36 years of age. And we are underway in round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And Chris Turner, 2 heavyweights, you would say, doing battle this afternoon. The question is, who's going to get the job done?
Good afternoon, Bart. Good afternoon, all. It's going to be an interesting match for sure, and instantly, Charlestown are showing their intention, Bart.
There is Scott Smith, dipping one in towards Reen Ferguson, who is playing up high on the left this afternoon. Was playing a little deeper last week against Adamstown in that 3-1 defeat. The upset where Charlestown really came out quite sleepily. Dave Tanchevsky's changed his formation. Tell us why he has decided against playing that 3-5-2.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily against playing it. It's just changing up from what, from his point of view, last weekend was very disappointing. So disappointing on a number of fronts, but as the game went, they've got an older side than what Adamstown have got, and they also were playing on a very, very hot day on a pitch that was heavy, so didn't really suit them. And Adamstown played 5 through the middle of the park and 4 across the back, so it was very difficult for the Charlestown side to penetrate through that sort of defence, and it was obviously very frustrating. So he wants to mix it up a little bit, but looking at the two sides, they're going out with a fairly similar formation where they've both got holding midfielders in both the Swan twins for Maitland, and then Peter McPherson and Lachlan Pasquale
Kane
on the opposing side.
On the turn, sorry, CT. Thought Kane Goodchild was going to look to probe into the box against one of his former coaches' sides, Michael Bulch. He spent some years under him at Hamilton Olympic as James Thompson, who was just barreled over by Lockie Pasquale. No free kick. Riley McNaughton with the throw. Zach Thomas winning the ball. And it's been Maitland, interestingly, who have dominated this rivalry in the top grade. Charlestown have only won once since 2002 against the Magpies in the top flight. It's Joel Wood. It's James Thompson. Former Newcastle Jets youth player, James Thompson, and here is a former Newcastle Jets captain, Matt Thompson, onto Swan, and now Wood. Neat one-touch football this from Maitland. That was beautiful build-up, and now James Thompson with the opportunity, and Kevin Davidson cleaned up at the back for Charlestown, but that was really neat stuff from the Magpies.
Thompson up front there, his touch is a little bit too heavy, got away from him, and a fraction too slow because Kevin Davidson was right on the spot, so need to be a little bit sharper than that, and he'll certainly be keep that in mind for his next attempt. That was a great opportunity, and what a build-up from Maitland. But
well, CT, you would talk as a coach in triangles. That's what you're aiming to utilise when you're moving forward like that in attack, and Maitland did that to a T, didn't they?
They sure did, and the ability to break down the defence of Charlestown that quickly through some slick, short passing. So you can see that they're obviously working on this because they're tracking in numbers. Looks good.
Joel Wood drops it into the path of Matt Thompson with the outside of his boot. He tried to find the 2-time Golden Boot winner. And now Thompson from distance, who is dipping. And Nathan Archbold had to tip it over the bar. I don't know if you saw the strike last night, CT, from Jose Atadi. He had a hit from about that kind of range straight into the top right corner. Probably a chance at being one of the goals of the season, and James Thompson almost repeated the dose.
Yeah, that was a good striker goal and took a big deflection and certainly had Archibald in a little bit of distress there for a moment. But in the end had it covered, and we'll note here we've got James Thompson and Matt Thompson. Matt Thompson, number 8, taking this corner.
No relation.
No relation.
The 36-year-old Thompson. And the 20-year-old Thompson it's Matt Thompson dipping it in. Here is James Thompson on the volley. The deflection into the path of Zach Thomas. He doesn't score too many goals. A recycle ball back in from Matt Thompson, and Carl Thornton's chest down or off the midriff was a little heavy. But McNaughton's ball away is picked off by Matt Thompson. Thornton tried to wriggle away from a couple, and Maitland looking really good early on.
Some wonderful movements from Maitland, and their passing is sharp. They look eager and they're hungry for this game today. You can see it in their intention. They've come out really looking good in this last 5 minutes. Turned it on. Matthew Thompson loving it in the middle of the park here today, and just wondering whether he's at full fitness at the moment. He hasn't played a lot of football. As we go, he's certainly looking good at the moment, but
here is Thompson, just was behind Tom Duggan, who tried to crane his neck, but In the end comes to naught for the Magpies, who are sitting on 1 point after just 2 matches. They haven't played at home this year. This is their 3rd away match because the 2 previous home matches that they've had scheduled have been washed out basically because of rain that has just pelted down the day of or the day before the match and flooded Cook Square Park. So they'll be looking to get back home and get some results in the coming weeks with that backlog of matches. Rain Ferguson to Pasquale. Just beyond Riley McNaughton, and James Thompson able to profit, but he's not going to prevent a throw for the Blues. Pete McPherson. Good child, feeds it off to Cal Lewis, who took a first-time strike. He hit it all right. Didn't have the accuracy he would have wanted on that occasion. And just from Charlestown's perspective, they sit 1 point outside the top 4. They are in 7th on the ladder. And a win moves them back into that top 4. But compared to last season, where they won their first 4, it's been a somewhat slow start. Losses to the Jets Youth and Adamstown Rosebud. 2 sides who they would have expected to beat at the start of the season when they planned out the campaign. As James Thompson squeezed it to Swan. Duggan's touch a little heavy, and then his pass beyond Thornton, but Matt Trott will clean up.
What we can see here, Bart, is the 2 sides are shaping up very similar. Both Swan brothers for Maitland are sitting in deep midfielders, and Matthew Thompson sitting up higher as we see him pick up the ball. And then in reverse, we've got Peter McPherson and Pasquale sitting behind Cal Lewis. So they're set up very similar, both playing 4 at the back and playing with 3 up front as well. One in very central for both sides. Good child being at one end and then Woods at the other, and then we've got Duggan and Thompson, James Thompson for Maitland, and Reen Ferguson and Scott Smith playing on the right-hand side. Very interesting to see how this will pan out because they're virtually playing the same system.
So Kane Goodchild away from Matt Swan. We've got a toe in. Those 2 former teammates at Hamilton Olympic for many years until 2017, where Hamilton's former coach Michael Balch moved to Maitland, and a few of the senior players switched spots around town as Scott Smith got up and couldn't quite get the power on that to goalkeeper Matt Trott, who kept 9 clean sheets last year, Matt Trott. And coming into this round, in the entire competition, just 2 sides had kept a clean sheet. There were just 2 clean sheets through 5 completed rounds. There was 2 clean sheets yesterday as well, Edgeworth and also Lambton in their 4-0 wins as Carl Thornton up he goes. But there's been plenty of goals this year, CT.
Well, everyone loves to see goals, that's for sure. We almost saw one then if Thornton just was able to lift that ball another foot. Duggan would have been away.
But is that surprising? 5 rounds into the competition and just 2 clean sheets. I know we've had a lot of washout matches, but I think there's only about 4 to catch up. So it's at least 4 completed rounds, and you've got just 2 clean sheets.
Well, I guess on the plus side of all of that is we've got teams playing attacking football, and we love to see that. It's not certainly anything going backwards, as these 2 teams are definitely going for it in that fashion this afternoon. The other point that I was going to make just regarding formations is Scott Smith, even though he's sort of been playing wider on the right, his natural tendency is to sit inside, so it'll be interesting to see whether he drifts in, because that'll give Riley McNaughton some more room to play as we see Thompson get that one out for Thornton.
Well, speaking of room, there is acres aplenty for Liam Thornton, who tried to drop it over the top for Joel Wood, but overhits that ball. Disappointed with that because there was time and an opportunity for him to put that right on a dime. He couldn't quite do it.
Stay warm, Ralph.
Tom Smart back into the lineup for Charlestown this week. Desperately wanting to play last week and did well when he came on. Doing well again this afternoon so far.
Kevin Davidson's ball cut out by Andrew Swan, who releases Joel Wood. Pete McPherson trying to dispossess him. 2 very experienced customers coming together. McPherson wins out on that occasion, and Pasquale now between the lines to Cal Lewis, who scored the sole goal for Charlestown last week in that defeat to Adamstown, as Duggan gets caught up and wins the free kick. And Matt Thompson, we've seen him score from this kind of range before against Charlestown a couple of years ago. He scored in the final minute to snatch a point. That was at Cook Square Park. You can see Joel Wood is standing over it as well. So will it be Thompson or Wood? They both have plenty of experience between them.
Looking like it will be Wood. This is the sort of range you love as a player to be taking. It's out far enough to get over the wall, and you've got that distance so you can dip it.
Can Joel Wood do just that? Not on that occasion. Straight into Kane Goodchild, who is in the centre of the wall. Goodchild launches it and tries to find Reen Ferguson. Gave it a little too much power. Tom Davies, another former Hamilton Olympic man in the Maitland lineup. He moved over in the off-season. McPherson collects James Thompson with the studs showing. James Cleal really had no option there as they take it quickly and give it straight back. Riley McNaughton. Now Pasquale to Cal Lewis. Dinks it to Reen Ferguson. Now Scott Smith to Cal Lewis. 3 goals for the Charlestown striker, Scott Smith, thus far. Pete McPherson just stubs it around to Tom Smart, who has a strike on goal. And I tell you what, if it wasn't for the boot of Zach Thomas, that little deflection off Reen Ferguson's head may have been enough to do Matt Trotting goals. And well, Ryan Broadley was warming up a couple of minutes ago, CT. I was wondering why, and this is why.
Looks like Swan's got a bit of trouble here.
There is a problem for one of the Swan boys, and that is Matt Swan heading down the sheds, and it looks as though he's holding a hip, maybe his lower back. Could have had a problem with it through the week.
Ryan Broadley, when he comes into the side, and I'll apologise if I call him Ralphie because it's what I've known him as.
Well, here we go. Already the intensity. Matt Thompson into the book for a yellow card, and Riley McNaughton letting him know all about it. He wanted a red card for the former Newcastle Jet. He's having a little chuckle, Matt Thompson, as well. There's nothing better than a little bit of spice in these kind of matches, CT, and maybe the seed has just been planted.
Tomo's as good as anyone at the subtle sledge. He's just doing it there with a chuckle.
McPherson, it falls for Riley McNaughton at the back post. Couldn't lash his right boot through it as he did a few weeks ago against Lake Macquarie. Joel Wood holding it up as he does so well, and then turning it over. Scott Smith rode the challenge of Swan. And then Smith's ball almost picked out by Joel Wood, but Cal Lewis will recover.
It's great to see both teams here playing some football, and they're moving it around well. There's lots of shape, good shape I'm talking about both sides in their attack, and then the defence is having to balance that off. So this is a good sort of game you want to watch, but very entertaining. And it's really hard to pick who's actually winning the arm wrestle at this early point. Ryan Broadley, when he comes into this side, as he's just done, he's got a lot to offer. His distribution is fantastic, and his actual vision of the game, knowing where people are and putting people in holes, is really good. And you see him putting a lot of pressure on Goodchild in that instance.
He spent a year overseas, did Ryan Broadley. You can see they're going in and making the tackle. Riley McNaughton looked to push forward. So he's back in the country, nice and refreshed. And all 3 of Maitland's subs are fresh players. They didn't play in the under-20s. It's a good shot to bullet it across the ground. We know they had lots of problems last year, Maitland, with injuries, and most weeks they were playing with men that had gone out there and spent 90 minutes on the park in the under-20. So that will be a welcome relief for Michael Bulch early on in the season.
Yeah, well, and obviously, not obviously, but Charlestown had more than their share of injuries last year as well. So they are, at this point, in reasonable shape. We have just seen Swan go off with some type of injury. I'm not sure whether it was a hip or what it was, Bart, but
Tom Davies just shanked the clearance, and Reen Ferguson looking to take full toll. And in the end, they're going to win a corner here.
it's a good start to both sides, or for both sides. They've both been very creative in their attack, and they've got their intentions in place, and that's to win the game. So interesting to see as we unfold, two teams which appear to be playing the same formation, how we actually pan out.
A really good match of football thus far, as you're saying. Really good match of football.
Yeah, it is. And one of the keys for Maitland is how long Matt Thompson's able to stay on the park. I have a little bit of a question mark regarding his fitness and the length. If they get an hour out of him, I think that Coach Bulch would be happy with that. See how he manages his afternoon.
McNaughton dips it in, and it was Kevin Davidson flying through. Last NPL goal was almost 3 years ago.
And bodies in there for Charlestown. Looks like Smith. Cameron Cellini was present as well.
And CT, I think this stat says a lot about Michael Bulch's quality as a coach. His side hasn't gone winless in their opening two matches since 2013. I can tell you that year they finished third. In 2012, they went winless in their first three, and they won the premiership. So maybe slow starts aren't the worst thing. You build momentum. I know it's a different sport, but one slow start that sticks out to me was the Roosters in the NRL last year. Started really slowly. They come out on top in the grand final. That's what you're building for.
Well, it is a long season, and he's a particularly good coach. He knows he won't be in any panic stations at this point in the year, but he'd love the points today. There's no doubt about that.
James Thompson, can he get it on the left boot? Well, that was a huge deflection. Kevin Davidson with the clearance. Matt Thompson on the volley, and now Zach Thomas, who was straight at Nathan Archbold. If it was a metre either side, he had a little bit of work to do.
Archibald was definitely on his toes there. He dropped so quickly into that ball and got his body behind it. And when you've got something that power coming at you, it's the best thing you can do. And he's a quality goalkeeper. He played with the Brisbane Strikers last year in the NPL Queensland. And they are one of the top sides. Liam Thornton from distance. Oh, and that has struck Riley McNaughton. CT, don't laugh. Don't laugh. And he is in all sorts. Right in the batteries. And we all take a deep breath. Gee whiz. I know we haven't got the replay in front of us, CT, but that wouldn't be worth watching back. No, not at all. And Liam Thornton got that one right out of the instep. And it was hit with power. Now, I'm going to say it. Damien Smith, during a training session, he's not here, but he has got a story. He actually got thumped in that region during a training session while he was coaching. And due to that, he actually has to get checkups to make sure everything's all right every year. He might kill me for saying that, but I thought it was worth the story. Oh, no, that's all good. And anyone thinks that it was accidental, maybe mistaken there. Having Smudge's sessions. And by the way, where is Smudge this afternoon, Bud? Well, CT, I was going to ask you that. Do you know where he is? Because I don't. I've lost track. Every week he seems to be away. I think it's a brewery in the Hunter Valley, and he's been there since lunchtime. Well, I'll come back to that in just a sec, because Maitland are looking like they're building to something on this occasion. Thornton, Thompson, and now Tom Davies in from behind. Reen Ferguson. Ryan Broadley wanting to take it quickly. They're going to take their time. I actually think the reason why he's not here is, you know the saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. He wants all the viewers to fall in love with him.
and miss because they miss him. They miss Smudge. They want Smudge back. They've got to deal with us two commentating, dribbling on. They just want Smudge back. Matt Thompson curling it across. And now Duggan couldn't get the power through it. That's the reason why, I think, CT. He wants people to miss him and say, come back, Smudge.
You're probably right. And he's giving them a fair opportunity because he's barely been here.
It's Kane Goodchild. Reining it in and bending it across. Zach Thomas was low with the header. Now Smith. Reen Ferguson didn't have the height to get the full power behind it.
Yeah, and Smudge used up all of his annual leave here on Bar TV.
Yep.
But
well, he used it up last week.
Early at round 6.
So Matt Trott, the former Mariner, between the sticks at Maitland. Without winning goalkeeper of the year, he's probably been as close as you could get to winning the award the last few seasons. As I said, 9 clean sheets last year, and that wasn't good enough. Paul Bitts won the award from Broadmeadow Magic, who had a super season. Nate Cavalieri the year before, so Matt Trott probably count himself a little unlucky. 2 quality goalkeepers who have stood tall in recent years.
Well, absolutely. Trott's been fantastic for Maitland. There's no doubt about that. He's been a real standout. And Nate Cavalieri is another one for me who had some terrific form in his time in the competition. Tom Smart, just that one getting away from him a little bit. Falls now for Thompson.
McPherson.
Yeah, sorry, Bart.
You're right.
McPherson is, as he always is, seems to be on the spot. Scott Smith, delivery into the penalty area is not too bad. But this occasion, Ralphie Ryan Broadley.
There's Tom Smart just in behind there on James Thompson. He's going to give the free kick, James Clale.
Yeah, and deserves so. And that's what Ralphie does. Broadly, he gets the ball. He nothing special all the time. He just keeps winning it and playing it, winning it and playing it. You love having that sort of footballer in your team because keep the ball moving.
Pasquale hooks it into the path of Kane Goodchild. Zach Thomas, CT, can you catch? Thought it was coming up to us. Well, on the bounce it may. And I'm just having a look at Facebook. If you want to ask us a question or send a comment, please bring Smudge back. You know you can do that. And I noticed that Aaron Apetesano is actually watching. He's pretty sure he may have retired due to a few injuries. Former Edgeworth player. Now, I was talking to Damien Zane this morning, Edgeworth coach, and apparently he said that Jose Ateidi's goal last night has overtaken Aaron Apetesano's howitzer. The definition of a howitzer was the strike from Ateidi. It's overtaken Apetesano's strike from a few years ago.
Apetesano, my mate from Port Macquarie.
Exactly. McNaughton. Carl Thornton mopping up for Maitland. It's Cameron Cellini. Ferguson's touch wide has given McPherson a little too much to do.
Maybe this one, Bart.
It's close. So we're just over the halfway mark in this opening half, round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. Charlestown at home to Maitland FC. Cal Lewis now. Lays it off to Scott Smith. It was just opening up. It opens up for Kane Goodchild. And he just tried to toe poke it. And I'm impressed with the amount of power he got on it. That has gone flying over the goals and probably about 20 metres beyond them.
Well, he did get enough of his boot to it to get it to matter. He just was stretching back a little bit in the reason for the lift. But he does know he could have done a little better with that. It's just one of those snap choices you make.
So Trott to Tom Duggan. Gets the chance to step up this afternoon with Sean Pratt out of the side. He had laser surgery on his eyes during the week and hasn't recovered. Thought he was going to be good to go because he had surgery earlier on in the week, but hasn't turned out that way. So he'll be back next week for Maitland. Good job with the back heel. Cal Lewis dished it off to Pasquale, and now Ryan Ferguson looking to put the pressure on Matt Trott. And he's done so because the clearance was only as far as Scott Smith. Ferguson may have collected Carl Thornton just on the edge of the box, but no whistle from James Clill, just a warning for Ryan Ferguson. It's been a good day for Charlestown thus far. 4-0 in the under-18s, 2-1 in the under-20s. And the winner, which was scored by Beau McDonald. He was playing for Cardiff a few years ago. You'll remember, CT, we watched them in the FFA Cup. He scored a lovely goal to win that one. Neat turn. He's actually unavailable till about round 8, I think, for first grade. Can play under 20s because he was with Hamilton earlier on in the season as Joel Wood beats a couple, dinks it across the face of goal. Here's Tom Duggan's chance, and Nathan Archbold sliding in. Got his knees there, and it's only going to be a corner. He was that close to his first goal in the top grade.
It's another great build-up there from Maitland, and Duggan in the end. Not a bad choice, just had some momentum, some speed, just to try and get around the defender. It was cut out. Matt Thompson's making his way back over for another corner.
Well, he won't get a much better opportunity than that, Tom Duggan. Scored a bunch in the under-20s last year, 8 to be precise. None yet in first grade. Thompson, straight onto the head of McNaughton. And here's Swan. Dishing it wide to Broadley, who was searching for Thornton, only found Reen Ferguson. Smart and McPherson linking up. Now Cal Lewis. Joel Wood, lovely touch inside to James Thompson. And Kevin Davidson just got his body in the way. Nothing doing there, CT. Maitland fans weren't impressed.
No, there's nothing in that one for me. That looked okay. Good call by the referee. Conditions different here for Charlestown this week versus the same time last week. It was particularly hot.
It was about 10 degrees warmer. It's low 20s this afternoon. Last week it was about 34 degrees, 33, 34. Very warm. And with an older roster, you would say, an experienced roster, CT, up against a very youthful team, as is Adamstown, it was always going to be tough for them.
This is run with old Bart, and they did it tough in the heat last week.
Well, you were asking for drinks breaks as well because you wanted some rest in the commentary box.
Well, it was hot no matter where you were.
Here's Tom Duggan. Beat Rylan McNaughton quite well. Tried to find Swan. Instead it was Thompson. After Swan let it run on, and the clearance from Pasquale wasn't his best, but it's going to spin inside the touchline. And Smith finds McPherson. Lewis. And Goodchild. There's the run inboard of Cal Lewis, but Ryan Broadley snuffed it out. Davies tried to nudge it over the top. Now Swan linking up with Thomas. We're just at the half an hour mark of this one as Rylan McNaughton again overhits that ball. Reen Ferguson is not going to give up on it, and he keeps it inside the line. Lewis hooks it back towards Goodchild, and Matt Trott took it off the forehead of the striker. Tom Davies pulling it inboard. Broadley between the legs of James Clell. Here's Broadley onto Wood. Tried to swerve away from Kevin Davidson. Scott Smith, a little deeper than usual. And Pete McPherson running into the space which he normally fills. Scott Smith playing high on the right. Some space in front of McPherson. They weren't coming at him, and he dished it off to Kane Goodchild, who still can't find the back of the net this season. It's been a tough start for the former Golden Boot, the two-time Golden Boot winner in the NPL Northern New South Wales. No goals in 4 matches to start the season.
Look, a long way to go for him this year, but he's threatening, and we just have seen that again now. And it won't be long before he makes himself known on the score sheet, whether it's today or sometime soon, but he's looking very threatening.
Well, he played half the season last year and scored 7 goals, so that shows you his quality. And it's just one of those things. When you score 1, all of a sudden the floodgates could open. It's just getting that first one. Maitland win the foul. And Ryan Broadley trying to steal about 10 metres.
Probably. That's how Ralphie he'll do that. He knows all the tricks in the book.
Just having a scan out there, CT, and Ryan Broadley, probably the only member of this Maitland side who is part of their promotion in 2014 it was, I'm sorry. Good shot, dinking it round towards Carl Lewis. Duggan. So he's been through the tough times with Maitland in the New FM Northern League 1. And now he's experiencing some time in the top flight. Duggan. Now Thompson. Joel Wood. Into the path of James Thompson, but Tom Smart. That shows you how good a defender he is. Used his body well. 1 possession back for Charlestown. And now he's mopping up again in the shadows of the grandstand and winning the throw. And that's what they missed in the first half last week against Adamstown. They conceded 2 goals. Tommy Smart was part of Dave Kanchevsky's championship-winning Lambton Jaffers side in the 2014 season. As was Pete McPherson, who's out there for Charlestown as well. Kevin Davidson was part of that side. Pasquale stumbles and his footing in the end. Riley McNaughton was in that squad as well. Played in that grand final.
But we were talking about the howitzer, as you called it, from Pedisano a couple of years ago now.
Round 3, 2017 it was.
You are good.
I haven't got it written down. It just is stuck in my brain because it was such a good strike.
It was a tremendous strike. And Nate Cavalieri's made a comment on Facebook saying nothing ever overtakes the Witzer, in my eyes, Aaron Pedisano.
Good to see Nate watching in. He's having a good season with Kingston City in the NPL Victoria. The 2017 goalkeeper of the year in the NPL Northern New South Wales, as we were mentioning, and I'm pretty certain he would have been the backup goalkeeper in 2014, that grand final side we were talking about.
And Kingston lucky to have him, that's for sure.
From Lambton Jaffers. McNaughton, he was part of that, bending it across goal. And here's Swan. He's seen his brother leave the field with injury. Rolls it into the path of James Thompson. Can he change the point of the attack and find Duggan? Tom Duggan has plenty of speed and guile as well to beat McNaughton. And into the back of Kevin Davidson. He's had some chances, Tom Duggan. On that occasion, Kevin Davidson with a defensive block. He's looking good down that left edge.
Well, he has been, and certainly on that occasion, he's pulled off a nutmeg Bart. fairly adventurous pass and really causing some problems there for Charlestown. Matt Thompson back over the ball again. His last effort didn't clear the first line of defence, so we're looking to improve on that.
Matt Thompson again. It was Kevin Davidson who put his head to the ball, but Carl Thornton will track this one down, the Maitland skipper, and win the throw. So is the long throw the option here from James Thompson? Straight onto the head of Tom Smart. Same, not much thought went into that. Good child. Now McPherson. Spinning on the ball. Not once, not twice, maybe 3 times in the end.
Again, the close ball control from McPherson is just phenomenal. Any young players out there, have a look at his feet. When he's under a lot of pressure, it doesn't leave his boot. And his security is fantastic.
Well, Matt Trott just slipped over as Cal Lewis was bearing down on him, but he was offside. Less than 10 minutes to travel in this opening half, round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. And CT will just bring people up to date with the score in the other match, which is taking place this afternoon. And I can tell you that it is Western 2, Newcastle Jets Youth 0.
Been in good form, Western, so far this year.
Well, that result takes them to within 3 points of Edgeworth, who are top of the table, but they do have a game in hand on the Eagles. And good news, next week, CT, we have got a cracker on Good Friday, Lambton and Western at Arthur Eden Oval for our match of the round. Looking forward to that one. And yes, those who are experiencing a little bit of heartburn or disappointment because Smudge has been away, he will be back on Good Friday, CT.
Believe it when I see it, Bart.
Lambton, Western, next Friday. So that's our match of the round. And then the week after, the Anzac Day match between the Rosebuds and Hamilton. So a big couple of weeks, an important couple of weeks coming up over the holiday period.
This game, Western v Lambton, should be a fantastic game. Anyone that I've been speaking to who's played against Western has said how good they are. So,
well, they've beaten Maitland already this year. That ball came in from Matt Thompson. And now Kane Goodchild. Touch just eludes him. Up looks Andrew Swan. Sees Tom Duggan. Thomas and Thompson. Tom Davies. Here's Ryan Broadley. Angles the pass to Thornton. And he touched it wide to Broadley and just slipped as he tried to regain control. Tom Smart with a bit of urgency up the line. Broadley inboard. Lovely squaring ball to Matt Thompson, and it really opened up down the middle of the park. He ran away from the support of Tom Duggan. Maybe tried to do a little too much on his own there.
I actually think he was running to open a hole for Duggan, who ran back inside, and that hole closed up. So I think Thompson was a bit surprised that he moved out from that left-hand side. However, they're back on the ball again now and building.
Duggan again turning away from Riley McNaughton and then angles the pass to Matt Thompson, who touches to Wood. Thompson just lost his footing, and now Broadley is under some pressure from Ferguson. Davies hangs it up. Snatched in by Nathan Archbold. Two high-quality goalkeepers at each end. They're going to be tough to beat this afternoon.
Ball in from Duggan was just too close to Archibald.
Davies,
sorry. It was just too close to Archibald to cause him any real problem. Another 2 metres outside where he was aiming was the optimum place.
both goalkeepers, CT, both of these two, we know they're both tall but great in the air as well. And that's why these two sides are going to have to put those crosses on a dime if they are to be able to profit from them. It's Cal Lewis's strike. Deflects up to Scott Smith. has Riley McNaughton alongside him. He finds him, and now Tom Smart. Well, he needed the driver, and he had the pitching wedge there.
It's ordinary, but
I'm not laughing. It's just a turn of phrase. Less than 5 to go. 7th taking on 10th. Now, if I said that to you at the start of the season, CT, that in round 6, this match of the round would be 7th against 10th, you probably would have said...
Not a chance.
Correct.
That's what it is, and that's why both these sides will be desperate for points.
And we know that Maitland have got a few matches to catch up, but they have started slowly. And Charlestown have as well. 2 wins and 2 losses. They have beaten Edgeworth, but then last week they lost to Adamstown, who are down the bottom of the table. It's Kane Goodchild. Can he find Reen Ferguson? He didn't have the power or precision with the pass, but Scott Smith is able to win the clearance. McPherson rolls it in for Salini in his 8th consecutive year with the Blues. Cameron Salini. Broadly looks up and finds Duggan, who was going to run outboard, instead cut infield, and his pass cut out by Kevin Davidson. Archbold just launches it long. Neat control off the chest from Zach Thomas to Swan, and here's Thompson. Matt Thompson has James Thompson on the outside. Neat 1-2. Plays it wide. Joel Wood. He shouldn't miss from there. And a great save. But it's going to be a penalty for the late contact on Matt Thompson. James Cleal took a couple of minutes to make his decision. I shouldn't say a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds. He just took his time and pointed to the spot.
Well, it's wonderful refereeing there by Cleal. He's done the right thing there. He waited to see whether that was going to eventuate into a goal. It didn't. There was a foul on Thompson straight back, and now we've got a penalty. And most likely Joel Wood take this one from the spot. Matt Thompson himself always comfortable in taking a penalty kick as well.
But what about the save from Archbold as well? I know it's going to be a penalty, and he's going to have to make another one here, but from close range, you would expect Joel Wood to score, and Nathan Archbold got his hand on it. We saw last week against Adamstown, he made a terrific save after a powerful drive was fired at him. Just got one arm up and really strong paw. Can he make a save here, which the home fans will appreciate? Joel Wood drills it into the bottom corner. Notches up his 2nd goal of the season. That's what he was paid to come here and do. And Maitland with the lead.
You pay a lot of that penalty and that build-up to Matt Thompson. He's worked through the middle of the park. He had an option to play the ball early. He didn't. He cut inside and weaving his way through. Plays a 1-2, gets it back. There the foul, and then onwards. Goal opportunity didn't come off, back for a penalty. And here we go again. Maitland 1. Charlestown City Blues 0.
A clinical penalty from Joel Wood. Did spend some time with the Newcastle Jets across his journey. Didn't play in the A-League. Wasn't far off it. McNaughton. Now Lewis. Feeds in Goodchild. Goodchild got on the outside of his former teammate Andrew Swan, and it will be a corner here for the Blues. It's been a real arm wrestle of late. And maybe, CT, you could say Maitland have just shaded the Blues.
I think it's been very even. Maitland have certainly had some good opportunities and good build-up. Charlestown have had their fair share of opportunities as well. Tight game.
McNaughton's corner, not his best effort, but it falls here for Cal Lewis. And again, the strike on goal is a poor one. They just haven't brought their shooting boots this afternoon, Charlestown. We've seen Goodchild put one over from close range. Tom Smart blazed one over the bar, and then Cal Lewis then. Is it just bobbling up off the surface? I know last week it was heavy, which would have cut up the ground with 3 matches played. And then again here this afternoon, the 18s and the 20s, and now first grade. So you sense there would be a couple of tufts of grass out of place. Thompson and Smart sliding in together. And CT, I thought you had almost been connected there by that slide tackle, the way you reacted.
It's just one of those tackles when players come together like that. It's not always a good result. Didn't like the way they were coming in towards each other. Fortunately, no one hurt on that occasion.
So heading towards half-time, it's that man Joel Wood in possession who scored the goal, which is the difference between the sides. 3 matches played, or it will be 3 matches played for Maitland after this afternoon, and Joel Wood already with 2 goals. Maitland really struggled for that out-and-out goal scorer last year. And that's what Michael Bulch hopes Joel Wood will be for them this year. He's done it in the past. Last year he was Valentine's leading light as Pasquale finds Scott Smith. And again, Zach Thomas, just too quick for Reen Ferguson. In the end, it will break down for Maitland, but centre-back impressing alongside Carl Thornton in the back line.
Well, Alex Reid is out of the starting lineup today. And Bolch did have some raps on Thomas.
Well, he was in the Central Coast Mariners system in 2015 and 2016. And you don't find your way into an A-League system without being a decent player. Tom Smart tried to fire that through the legs of Ryan Broadley. McPherson looking for an option, found Cellini, and the players will head to the sheds after a tight 45 minutes. Decent free-flowing action. And we looked headed for a 0-0 scoreline at half-time until a penalty was won by Matt Thompson and smacked into the bottom right corner by Joel Wood. And that's where it leaves us at half-time at Lyle Carr Oval. It's Charlestown City Blues 0, Maitland FC 1. Charlestown by no way out of this one, CT. But they're going to have to find a way through Maitland's defence, which is looking decent.
Very entertaining match to watch so far, and I like the way that both teams are attacking. Maitland have been solid in defence, there's no doubt about that. It certainly, I wouldn't be disappointed if I was Coach Tanchevsky. He would be certainly buoyed by the fact that his team is making some forward progress on a regular basis. Maitland are definitely hard to break down. It does look like they've got some work to do, of course, but they're from a long way out of this game. This game's got plenty left in it, but...
Well, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 10 for the second half. Maitland leading Charlestown by a 1-0. Welcome back to Lyle Carr Oval, home ground of the Charlestown City Blues. At the moment, they've got a little bit of work to do. They're down by a goal to nil. Joel Wood scored for Maitland just before half-time from the penalty spot after Matt Thompson was fouled just inside the top of the box. And it will be the Blues who will get us underway through their all-time leading goal scorer, Scott Smith. And they're not far behind him. Kane Goodchild is over in the left-hand edge of the box. And James Cleal is going to get us back underway. Chris Turner. Charlestown have got the deficit to overcome in their second half, but they've certainly got the attacking firepower to do it with. Liam Thornton nods that one away from goal.
Well, that they do, and I don't think either coach will be too disappointed with the first half of their sides. They've both played good attacking football and created opportunities, and that's what you want to do. Maitland's defence has just been solid through the middle of the park and the back. So as a unit, they've defended well, and I don't think Michael Bolts could be any happier at this point in the game. He'll just know that that's one from a long way away from being finished.
Maitland yet to win this season. Charlestown going down last week against Adamstown. They had 1-2 straight before that. As Tom Davies rolls it down the line to James Thompson. Decided to return the favour to Davies, who has found himself in a bit of a tangle with Ryan Ferguson. Calmly away from that though. Liam Thornton and now Andrew Swan. His brother Matt forced off the ground just minutes into this one. I should say. Yes, that is correct. I'm just making sure I've got the right Swan CT. The clearance off the side of the boot may fall for Ryan Broadley. Tom Smart got his body in the way. Danger not gone though for the Blues. James Thompson onto the left. Falls for Matt Thompson. Dishes it off to James Thompson, who had a hit. It's always rising though.
Archibald had that one covered. Play again from Maitland.
I thought you said Archibald then.
They'd love to go another goal up, but they'd love nothing more than that to be the case. But Charlestown have got a different theory on that one.
Smith. Pasquale. Now hooked inboard by Ryan Ferguson. And the deflection falls for Cal Lewis. He's got a bit of work to do, too much in the end. Charlestown coming into this one, just one win from their opening 3 matches at home. And the stats don't bode well for them when they have conceded the first goal. They've won just 1 of 3 matches this season. Swan. Now Broadley turns the favour to Andrew Swan. Now Kevin Davidson. A little bit of turnover from both sides. Thompson challenged by Pasquale. The young man has won the ball, the former NPL Rookie of the Year. It's Goodchild. Again overhits the ball in front of Ryan Ferguson. Seems to be a similar trend to what happened last week, CT, with Charlestown. They're getting into that final third, and that final pass is letting them down.
That one certainly was overhit by Goodchild. Positive news is they've got players running forward and into holes, and that's what they want to do. They want to get him behind the line, as Maitland are doing on this occasion.
James Thompson decides against the early ball. Tried to roll that through past Delaney and to Wood, but the experienced centre-back was there. And Ryan Broadley thought for a moment then he was looking to chip Nathan Archbold. In the end, the ball beats Tom Duggan over the line. Lyle Carr Oval has felt like a home away from home for Maitland. They've won 2 of their last 3 here, leading at the moment. Can they make it 3 from 4? It's Joel Wood wins it from McPherson. Curled it with the outside of his boot to Matt Thompson, but Riley McNaughton just nipped in and won it. A little bit of dispute over whose throw it is. And James Cleal is just going to talk to his assistant and gives the throw to Charlestown. It is one thing that amazes me, CT, so much dispute over one throw. And Zach Thomas and Reen Ferguson come together.
Well, Reen has had a smile on his face for about the last 5 minutes. He seems to be enjoying himself. He knows this one's not over.
They love being a part of these kind of matches, don't they?
It's high quality, it's physical, and it's right up his alley. He loves it.
2 heavyweights going toe-to-toe. And here he is, Reen Ferguson. And that wasn't far away.
That wasn't, and that's probably why he's got a smile on his face, because he knows he's got more of that in him.
What a way to equalise that would have been.
Well, a good strike, just off target. Trot. He's been in great form. Don't know whether he would have got to that or not.
Well, we were saying, CT, that it was going to take a good strike to beat both of these goalkeepers. Joel Wood, obviously, a penalty, but that would have been a super effort from Reen Ferguson, picking out the bottom corner. In the end, just wide. He turns and finds McPherson. Squares it up to Pasquale. Between the lines to Smith. He's being given some grief by Lamb Thornton. Too much, according to James Cleal. Gives the free kick the way of the Charlestown captain. And they've started this second half well, Charlestown. It was Maitland who flew out of the blocks and had majority of the earlier chances in the first half. Second half, it's reversed a touch. Most of the play down this southern end of Lyle Carr Oval. McNaughton again on the free kick. Headed back by Ferguson, and Davidson brings it down, and Matt Trott, well, that's what he does. Terrific save down to his left.
Great strike there from Davidson as well. He just got himself in great position to get a turn and strike on it. Again,
is this a sucker punch from Maitland? After Matt Trott makes the save, they go down and make it 2-0. Joel Wood stepping on the left and the right, and now dinking it. No one on the same wavelength, though. Nathan Archbold thumps it with a little bit of angle. Reen Ferguson has done wonderfully well there, but Zach Thomas
still got a smile on his face.
Now Duggan ran into Reen Ferguson, and Kevin Davidson doing too much, according to James Cleal. Taken quickly by Duggan. Space out to the right for Tom Davies to deliver a decent ball in. Salini nods it away. Tom Smart tried to continue the momentum. McPherson and Salini. And now Carl Thornton stepping up from the back line. That could have been an important intervention, and it may well prove to be, because Matt Thompson has been fouled, and it was the desire from Carl Thornton there to win the ball in the midfield, nudge it forward to Matt Thompson, and now Maitland get the free kick.
Interesting to see whether Thompson has a strike at goal here or not. Won't be surprised if he doesn't.
So what's the reasoning here behind Matt Thompson taking the free kick after Joel Wood had the opportunity from a similar range in the first half? Is it basically Wood smacked his straight into the wall, so it's Matt Thompson's chance
just
now?
A little bit wider out, and he may be looking to pick someone out in the middle of the box.
Well, he's going to go for the top corner, and it fizzed just wide. And I know from this angle it's tough to judge, but from Matt Thompson's reaction, that was inches away.
Well, I have to admit I'm a little bit surprised he went for the strike there, but what a good decision from him. Wasn't far off the money. You're absolutely right there, Bart. And Tomo knew exactly how close that was.
Maybe he went for the bluff. Maybe Charlestown were thinking that as well. He was going to dink towards the back post, and he just fired it at the top corner.
Maybe.
Cal Lewis feeds it to Ferguson. Ferguson letting it run on to Lewis. And now Thornton and Lewis, you heard the coming together. Charlestown questioning whether it's a free kick. Kane Goodchild is doing that in the middle of the park. James Cleal just explaining the decision to the Charlestown striker. And after scoring 4 goals against Lake Macquarie in round 3, they've scored just once in the last game and a half, Charlestown. And it was a lovely goal. Cal Lewis's header last week and the build-up from Charlestown. They just can't quite find a way to repeat it. It's James Thompson. Gave Matt Thompson too much work to do. Andrew Swan wins the header. Little slip and trip from Ferguson. And now, what a ball that was from Andrew Swan. Joel Wood. And now Matt Thompson off balance and sprays it wide. Maitland have got their foot on the throat here. Couple of good chances. Thompson spraying the free kick just wide, and on that occasion lost his footing.
Well, he will know how important the next goal is for Maitland if they were to get one. See the desperation in his game right now. Still going okay, Thompson.
Well, you said an hour, didn't you? You said about an hour. In this one, Matt Thompson, he would last. So important to Maitland. They've got Ryan Clark on the bench, who's just come back from overseas. Scott Smith, good child, trying to play an intricate pass towards Reen Ferguson, where it breaks down. And now a touch on from Joel Wood to Ryan Broadley. Pastures aplenty down the right. Looked for the early ball into Tom Duggan. Maybe not the right option in the end. Smart. It's just opened up here for Salini. If they're good enough here, Charlestown, there's space out here to the right. They'll get the free kick. Kane Goodchild has got no one on him. The only thing was, free kick not taken from the mark, and it wasn't going to reach Goodchild anyway, so they're probably relieved that they'll get to take it again. As the weather just closes in a little bit, potentially a bit of rain on the way this afternoon. Reen Ferguson. And now Pasquale, yet to score a goal in the NPL, and that will continue.
He certainly splashed that one out of the way. Never a threat to trot.
I love that, CT. Splashed it out of the way. Might add that one. Tom Smart. Broadley. And now James Thompson. Running it down. And now nudging it to Broadley, who tried the... Well, was it an intentional back heel? Or was he just... Had he just turned his back and the pass was fired into his heel? That's the question.
Intentional from Broadley.
Breaks free from Andrew Swan. And then Zach Thomas again. The speed at the back of he has been so crucial for Maitland this afternoon. And now James Thompson is offside, as the centre half tried to chip it forward. So we are just near the hour mark, CT. So you're saying Matt Thompson's time out there is probably going to come to an end soon.
Well, he's still looking good, and every minute he's on the park for Maitland is a bonus. I would love him to go the whole way. I had a question mark over whether he was going to go the full way or not.
We could just hear the intensity there lift from Charlestown. They know this is a crucial period. They win the corner. And Riley McNaughton standing over it. It's low again, not a great delivery. Hasn't been on song from the corners this afternoon. Be a little frustrated with that one as well. As McNaughton attempting it to lob it over the top of Swan. McPherson. Thwarted by Carl Thornton. And now Smart to McPherson, the two former Jaffers teammates. And Reed Ferguson has his pocket picked by Tom Davies. And then he's going to go into the book, compounding the mistake.
No choice there from Cleel. That was just a straight yellow card without any thought.
Well, does Dave Tanchevsky look to the bench now? He's got Jamie Burns, Zach Lloyd, Rio Nishiura, Max Vector also on the pine for Charlestown this afternoon. He's got a lot of options. Pasquale. Good child. Now Cal Lewis. Riley McNaughton chiming in, and he's dispossessed by Swan. Joel Wood with the infield flick to Duggan. Well, was there a handball? That may not matter. The clearance away. Well, I tell you what, if there was VAR, Cameron Cellini would be a nervous man. I would say, obviously, it's not intentional. But was the arm away from the body in the end? It's not going to be awarded, so it's going to be a moot point. Smith rides the challenge of Duggan. McPherson now has some options ahead of him. Decides to take on Andrew Swan. Good child, Smith. Chipping to Cal Lewis. Taking on Tom Davies. And then giving Tom Smart some work to do as he tried to hook it back infield. It'll just be a goal kick though. So Scott Smith's time this afternoon is over. Rio Nishiura taking his spot out there. And he's just deciding who to give the armband to. Pete McPherson. And he's dished it off to Riley McNaughton. And McNaughton still with the armband in hand. Nudges the ball up the ground. Duggan. He's still going with the armband on his left wrist, Riley McNaughton. That was interesting. Tempers flaring a touch. Cellini backtracks. Thompson dinking it to Joel Wood. Did get a touch from McNaughton. And James Thompson flowing forward, cuts it across goal. And Tom Smart, under pressure from three Magpies, was able to clear it away. Nishiura squaring it up to McPherson. Goodchild. Dinking it to Cal Lewis, who got the touch on to Goodchild. Off Zach Thomas. Appeals about a handball. James Cleel points to the corner flag.
Goodchild, a big peel for handball there. he was absolutely precision on his delivery, and he's claiming that's a handball.
Well, I think that's a square up, to be honest. It was one at each end, and we were a little blocked off from that particular appeal. So McNaughton again. He'll be hoping for a better delivery than what he produced last time. That is a better delivery, and Matt Trott was on the stretch. Thompson goes to ground. Nishiura sums up the situation. Now Ferguson turning, and Trott again. They're wondering what they have to do to score Charlestown.
Another great opportunity for Ferguson. That's 2 good goes he's had, and he'll be disappointed he hasn't stuck one of those in. That was a good chance.
A little too eager, Tommy Smart, straight through the back of Tom Duggan. And that not taken from the mark, and James Cleal is going to bring it back. This has been a really good contest, CT, and Charlestown are really bearing down on Maitland all of a sudden. It's just ebbing and flowing. The pendulum is swinging. Both sides know how important the next goal is. Maitland get a second, and it's potentially game over. Good child. And now Reen Ferguson, he's not going to win that foot race with Zach Thomas. He is going to win the throw, though. Look at the intensity here from the Blues. McPherson. And now Ferguson. Good child, calling for the ball in the middle, as is Cal Lewis, but McPherson decided to take on goal himself.
Playing with some energy, McPherson, he knows how important this is. They don't want to go away from this game with it, no points. Where they are, they know they're a better side than what the numbers are showing at the moment.
Pasquale, you don't want to go 5 rounds with 3 losses. We're talking early in the season about how many defeats you can have to make the finals. Good child. That was thumped into Zach Thomas. And it's about 5 or 6. You really can't afford to lose any more than 5 or 6 matches if you want to make the top 4. It's pretty cutthroat in an 11-team competition. Thomas, Wood, and now Matt Thompson. Hasn't got too much support. He had James Thompson out to the right, but Maitland very much sitting a little deeper. Nishiura, the touch onto Lewis. Free kick here to Charlestown. And Zach Thomas, his day looks to be done. You would sense Alex Reid would take his place. Jamie Burns is going to come on for Lockie Pasquale, so that's an attacking move from Dave Tancheski.
It'll be interesting to see instantly who's going to go into that holding midfield position, because it's not going to be Jamie Burns. Maybe Lewis.
Well, there you go. So Zach Thomas has recovered after he went to ground. Maybe just winded from that strike from Goodchild, and that was all he was having a seat for. You see it often, players going to ground and leaving the park.
Jamie Burns would love to come on and make an impact here.
Hasn't scored for his new club just yet. Jamie Burns, 6 goals with Edgeworth last season. McNaughton's ball in, nodded away by Andrew Swan. So Ryan Clark back from the US, his first match of the season. Smart. Wood gets up, it bounced up awkwardly. Cal Lewis putting it back for Charlestown. And I tell you what, if there's one man in the competition you would love to have coming off the bench with his speed, it's Ryan Clark. Very fast. Jamie Burns is just offside. Wouldn't have been by much. Just in front of the last man. And that just makes Charlestown have a little think about how far they push forward. With a man like Ryan Clark and his pace. Matt Trott trying to pick out Ryan Clark, but Tom Smart was able to win the ball in the air. CT, just tell me this. You're Dave Tanchevsky, Charlestown manager, down by a goal to nil, but you've got Ryan Clark to deal with over on that right side for Maitland, the left side for Charlestown. What are you telling Tom Smart when he's going forward?
First of all, what you're going to tell him is you're going to tell him defend first. You've got to look after your home base, there's no doubt.
Well, here he is, Ryan Clark. Riley McNaughton, that was a really, really important intervention. You can't understate that. Because if Ryan Clark got through, there was space out for James Thompson on the left.
The next thing you're going to tell him is that we've got a game to win here and we need to attack. So when you've got the opportunity to go forward, you go forward, but we'll get some cover in place for you when you go. The key is to get him to worry about you and you not worry about him. That's the difference. And if you can win that mental battle, then you go a long way. Ryan Clark is very dangerous. We know his speed. You've got to lock him up. So whoever goes, we've got to have some balance in there. And that's what he's going to be saying as coach.
Just looking across the back line, Salini and Davidson, they're not the speediest centre-backs, and Tom Smart, probably the quickest man over on that side of the park. So that's definitely the reason why he's been marking the speedy men in Duggan and also Clark. Up looks Riley McNaughton. Thought he was a little lame there for a moment. Good child. Dispossessed, and Zach Thomas to his keeper. Look at good child come at Matt Trott. He felt the pressure, lost his footing, and now Tom Smart spots him off his line, and it may have been interesting if it was on target.
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, he was off his line and the strike was a little better, and then puts him under a ton of pressure. Good child. Love the enthusiasm there. He's just chased him down and forced Trott to slip, creating that opportunity, albeit a half opportunity. Lewis sitting in that holding midfield position next to McPherson, who picks up the ball pretty comfortably there, Bart, and rolls it out to Smart.
So Tom Smart giving Ryan Clark some defensive work to do. In the end, he did it quite well.
You can feel the urgency here from Charlestown. I know. This next 15 minutes is critical.
Well, there's some urgency as well at Bear Park. Western 2, Jets Youth 1. That one's all of a sudden got a little tighter. It's Ryan Clark. Now Thompson to Thompson. Kevin Davidson with a good challenge. Will be a corner though.
Thompson on his way to the corner to take it, and he's in no rush whatsoever.
And James Quill just letting him know that he is stopping his clock.
And Tomo won't give a flyer about that one. He's just going to get himself organised, get his teammates in position and take his time. Cleel again letting him know time to move things along.
So Thompson pending it across goal. It sits for Jamie Burns on the edge of the box. Good child. A little deeper than he would like to be. And now Matt Thompson driving into the box. Salini there for the block, and Ryan Clark has clipped McNaughton, who went down in a screaming heap. And Ryan Clark into the book. I think he's saying he went down a little softly, Ryan Clark, but James Quill didn't agree. Maitland also querying it. Very good theatrics from Riley McNaughton as well. That was world class.
No doubt he copped a clip. I'm just questioning the players and how hard it was.
Not as hard as the way he went down, I'd argue. Salini. Tom Smart. Nishiura. Now Swan, letting it trickle on. Tom Davies attempted to hook it clear. Does come back with interest though. Carl Thornton intervenes though for Maitland, the captain, to his brother Liam, who has pastures aplenty down the left. Feeds in Ryan Clark. Takes on McNaughton. Important intervention from Kevin Davidson. And then Joel Wood collected Pete McPherson, and Ryan Broadley thought he was playing a bit of rugby league there. Picked up the ball, went for a trot. Take a little more time off the clock.
He's a cheeky customer.
Well, Nishiura, I thought that was close to potentially a handball there. He brought that ball to the ground. Broadley and Thornton. Chipping into the path of Matt Thompson. Another appeal about handball. Burns. What is the option for Riley McNaughton? That's chipping it up the line. Davidson rounding up the ball in the defensive third. And he's still going, CT, Matt Thompson.
He is, and he's going strong.
He does seem to be just struggling a little bit at the moment, though.
Tongue in cheek strong and hand on hip strong. He is out there for a reason, because he's a wonderful leader on the ball and off it.
Wayne Ferguson got a nick on it. Liam Thornton lobbed it out of danger momentarily for Maitland, but Charlestown are going to be returning. They want this equaliser. They want a chance to go after the 3 points. Nishiura, remembering that this ground has been a happy hunting ground for Maitland in the past. 2 wins in their last 3 here at Lyle Carr Oval. And Ryan Clark and Jamie Burns in a foot race. The 2 bright green boots going against each other. And Burns is blown up to Lux. It won't prevent him going into the book. Inside the final 15 minutes now. Ryan Clark, as I was saying, back from the US and back against a club where he has done well. 2 goals in his last 2 against the Blues. As the 2 number 2s come together, Tom Davies and Tom Smart. Swan gives it away to Kane Goodchild. Can he profit? The Charlestown striker. He's so dangerous running at defenders. Dishes it off to Nishiura, the Japanese import. Good footwork, bending it in, and Matt Thompson, there he is, shoring up the defence. So tense still.
Another great patch of play there from Charlestown. Seeing Alex Reid come onto the park now.
Well, here it is. So Matt Thompson is going to make way. He's lasted about 16 minutes longer than what you thought, CT.
Well, any minute he's on the park, Maitland coach Michael Bolch will take it. I think they've absolutely milked his legs this afternoon. He's been a wonderful player for Maitland, and a big reason why they're sitting in front and got their noses in front of the game at the moment.
Do you think Michael Bolch was keeping Matt Thompson out there in the hope that they could just snatch a second and then he could bring him off? Is that the plan, do you think?
Maybe not. I think that his organisation, his presence on the park is well known, and in the big games, and this is a big game, make no mistake, he wants him out there to direct the traffic around. And I did notice earlier in the game where he was talking to Thomas, giving some guidance in the first half. That's just what he does. He's out there promoting his team and their ability to win the game, and the level of confidence that he brings to the group is fantastic, and it's good for the game, good for the league.
Joel Wood. And Thompson dispossessed by Nishiura. Smart to Lewis. Stuck to his boot like glue. And Now Pete McPherson. You can hear Matt Trott barking out orders to his defence, and McPherson not quite on the same wavelength there as Cal Lewis. Salini now to Smart. Nishiura. Here is McPherson, just lost his footing, regained it though, and kept possession. McNaughton dispossessed there by Ryan Clark and Alex Reid, who's playing up front. He has been playing at the back at times this year.
He's a man that knows where the bag is, and that Charlestown are going to really have to watch him because he's come in fresh.
He scored in their opening round match. Nishiura fired that towards the top corner.
Great strike. Trott just had his body behind the ball, perfect positioning.
Well, that would have been some way to introduce himself to the home crowd.
Desperately have loved that to go in.
You might remember their Japanese import Masaya Sakamoto scoring a winner against Lambton last year. Nishiura hit that one well. Good child. Andrew Swan winning that little one-on-one battle, but it will be a throw for Charlestown. It's been great to see those two old heads go toe-to-toe, Kane Goodchild and Andrew Swan. Wily characters, Ferguson. And now Lewis, giving McNaughton some work to do. Couldn't free up the left boot, and then Zach Thomas again. He would have to be close to Maitland's best. I know Matt Thompson has done a mountain of work out there, but Zach Thomas has snuffed out a mountain of opportunities. Cal Lewis and Tom Davies.
He sure has been very impressed with him. Not only his decision making, not only his pace, but he's just winning contests, winning and being in great position often.
So Zach Lloyd is going to replace Tom Smart. No, he's not. It's going to be Pete McPherson. Tom Smart has tricked me. He's coming over for a drink.
Ryan's going into the middle. We're back on.
So it is Pete McPherson to make way for Zach Lloyd. So tactically, is there a change up here for Charlestown? They want to push men forward, down by a goal to nil. Joel Wood's penalty just before half-time, still the difference between these two. And Riley McNaughton hooking it high, just beyond Nishiura. Kevin Davidson squaring it up. Nishiura, his touch into Thompson. Now James Thompson can't keep it inside the line. You can see his frustration. Nishiura dinking it up. Almost fell for Goodchild, and McNaughton at the back post. Michael Balch screaming out orders to his troops. You can really sense the intensity now. Tom Smart and Tom Davies mopping up for Maitland.
This one on the edge.
McNaughton and now Reen Ferguson. Not the power to beat Matt Trott though.
Coach Balch off his desk, out of the bench. He knows at this point how critical this one is. Right now, both teams really pushing Maitland, hanging on to a 1-0 lead. Charlestown, everything they can to penetrate this Maitland defence, which has been rock solid all afternoon. Swan making sure that his team keeps possession. The ball goes out for a throw-in. Michael Balch, he won't be anywhere near relaxed here right now, but he knows that this game is going to go to every second in extra time.
Well, I can tell you at Western, Newcastle Jets 1, Western 3. Alex Reid, after Kevin Davidson falls for Broadley, he fired that across goal, and now Swan punched the ball in the end, and he's going to go into the book.
Big grin on his face there. I don't know what he was thinking.
He thought he was playing AFL, bit of a hand pass there.
He's just body into it. He's a character, he and his brother. Everything goes on the line every time they play for every minute.
Well, we haven't heard Michael Balch for much of this match. Final 10 minutes, he's got up out of his chair And he is screaming out orders to his men defensively.
He knows how good this Charlestown side is.
And now here's Goodchild with an opening. It's going to be a corner.
And he also knows this game is not finished until Cleel decides that time is enough. He's looking at every run, every tackle, every pass right now. He's looking at every combination. He's scanning everywhere and barking orders as required.
Well, here we go. McNaughton again, and the header from Reen Ferguson. Frustration as he claps his hands together. Couldn't keep the header down, and still the deficit remains for Charlestown.
It's just one of those ones for Ferguson. He's just got to get a clip on it, and it can go anywhere. On that occasion, he's just got too much of the mullet. Sailed over the bar.
Last 5 minutes now. The money minutes. Alex Reid was very high. Nishiura. Ferguson couldn't just crane the ball around the corner to McNaughton and Tom Davies. Taking his time.
This game looking a little more direct, Bart, than what it was earlier in the first half.
Well, Reid, he's got the run of Ryan Clark. He uses Ryan Clark and Nathan Archbold. Body on the line. Slid in. Again showing the quality of both keepers this afternoon. The only goal scored via a penalty. That was put into the bottom corner by Joel Wood before half-time. Cal Lewis rides the challenge. Curling it in. And Zach Thomas again. A metronome at the back for Maitland. Joel Wood, well, Tom Smart got a tuft of his hair there and pulled him to ground. And Joel Wood has a little bit of a chuckle.
Both teams are desperate here. You see Thomas, again, you're spot on, Bart. He's having an absolute whale of a game.
He's got to be man of the match, doesn't he, at this point? If Maitland get up 1-0 and he doesn't make a defensive howler, I'm saying if it's 1-1 and he makes a defensive howler, well, obviously he can't, but at this point, he's almost untouchable for man of the match.
He's had a terrific game, and as I said before, his decision-making's been good and his positioning's been even better. In the right spot, and his pace. Also,
just 20 years of age, previously with Broadmeadow Magic, as I mentioned, the Mariners and Western until 2017. He's been with Maitland the last couple of seasons. As Lewis's ball fired into the back of Ryan Broadley. So it's been Charlestown's day up to this point in the lower grades. Maitland leading currently. Nishiura trying to change that. Bending his run down the left. It sits up for Goodchild. And it just got caught under his boot. And Matt Trott has dived on the ball and he just cradled it like a baby.
Goodchild is kicking himself because he didn't kick it the first time. His first opportunity was his first attempt. That's where he was going to score. He just can't believe that he didn't put that away.
The numbers just swarmed around the ball after that, and the chance was gone.
You can see his body language. He needs to shuffle that off one really quickly. Get himself ready for the next one because time is running out.
It just hasn't been his season thus far. Kane Goodchild as Joel Wood bursting through in on goal. And did Archbold get a touch? He didn't. It was fired wide off the boot from Joel Wood. That would have signed, sealed and delivered all 3 points to the Magpies if that one had have broken into the back of the net. Archbold on the bounce. Burns couldn't quite get there. Thornton up the line. Goodchild's frustration continues. McNaughton, Cellini, and now Tom Smart. They've got to go quickly here, Charlestown. Almost into stoppage time. Round 6 of the NPL Northern New South Wales. Maitland 7th. I should say Maitland 10th. Charlestown 7th on the ladder. The Magpies yet to win this year. even though they have only played the 2 matches. It's been a slow start to the season for them.
Has been a little bit of stoppage time, I'm going to say, Bart, probably about 3 minutes worth for Cleal.
Tom Davies measured the pass to Ryan Clark. He looks up, sees Salini, has him backtracking, dinks it to the back post, and there it is. The 3 points are going to Maitland. Joel Wood scores a double. 2-0 to the visitors. And this is going to continue their wonderful record at Lower Car Oval. 3 wins in the last 4 when this one is all done and dusted.
Massive sigh of relief for Coach Bolch. Ryan Clark did everything right there. He drew some defenders, got himself into the box and picked out Wood on hand. In the end, it was a fairly simple finish. You see the body language of Charlestown City Blues crushed.
And it was that man, Ryan Clark, bursting away down the right, off the bench, with the speed. And Cameron Salini just couldn't keep pace with he.
And it was only a couple of minutes ago that the opportunity for the equaliser came for Kane Goodchild. And he still can't believe he didn't put that one away. And then right down the other end, Clark would combine to make it Maitland 2, Charlestown 0.
It's a matter of inches, isn't it? A matter of moments.
Well,
now
it is.
Ryan Broadley.
And Tanch will reflect on this game and say, had that one goes in from Goodchild, licking his wounds for sure.
Is he just lacking a bit of confidence in front of goal, Kane Goodchild?
Look, but it's just one of those situations. It was that tight, that quick. He just didn't get it. He just had to stab at it a bit off balance. That's what it was.
Clark delivers almost to Reed, but Salini was there first. Herring across to the sideline with Zach Lloyd. Can't keep it inside the chalk. Now Wood to Thornton, and McNaughton is not able to keep that one from crossing over the line for a corner kick. Maitland would love a cherry on top here to make it 3-0, helping there for and against. A goal difference. Coming in here this afternoon, we're sitting at -1. But not pushing men forward at all. Jamie Burns winning it at the near post. McNaughton hooking it infield. Goodchild, and again, couldn't find Reen Ferguson. And now Thornton under some pressure from Goodchild. Trot whacks it up the ground. Davidson, a little bit of work for Zach Lloyd. The fresh legs able to track that one down. Thornton to Reed. That's Liam Thornton across to Ryan Clark. Not quite sure what he was trying to do there. He just thumped it up high, taking a few more seconds off the clock. I don't think he even knew. Thornton straight into Reen Ferguson. Always gives 110%, does Reen Ferguson.
Well, he's had a great game this afternoon as well, Bart.
Terrific competitor, isn't he?
He is, and he had some opportunities as well. And
Zach Lloyd, low and hard. Jamie Burns almost giving the Blues some late hope, but Matt Trott, well, if we say Zach Thomas has been man of the match, Matt Trott is not far behind him. And there hasn't been a bad player out there for Maitland. But defensively, they've been mighty, those two. And the Magpies, they are off the ground in 2019. And while it may have felt like an age since they started the season to their first 3 competition points, it's just 3 matches, and that will rise them up the ladder. 3 wins in their last 4 at Lyle Carr Oval. They will sit in 8th place on the table after this round is completed. Just 1 win outside the top 4, with at least a couple of matches to catch up on a bunch in that portion of the table. And for the Blues, that's 2 straight defeats for them. They'll be very disappointed with that, especially heading into the bye over Easter next weekend. Full time at Lyle Carr Oval. Charlestown City Blues 0, Maitland FC 2. It was a tight one, CT, and Maitland really won those big moments, didn't they?
They did. They got a penalty in the first half, and then in the end, what was a great opportunity created by Ryan Clark for a Joel Wood finish. To take nothing away from Charlestown, they put out a terrific performance this afternoon. We'll see lots more of them through the season in better formation, and they will for sure climb their way up the ladder, but it's not the result that Tanchevsky wanted this afternoon, and Michael Bolch, coach of Maitland, and his camp will be relieved to get some points on the board and finally get some momentum going into a club and a side that has got so much ability and talent, and he will be feeling very, very happy right now with him and his troops, knowing what they've completed. What I've enjoyed about this afternoon's fixture, Bart, is that both teams went out to play. They've set out initially in the same format. Very interesting, 2 holding midfielders for both sides, 4 at the back, and the way that they presented themselves up front with their attack power. Both sides, end-to-end football, very good to watch. As you said, Maitland took the opportunities at the right moments, and that was about the difference between the 2 sides. Very much a scoreline that doesn't reflect how close the game was, and David Tanchevsky.
CT, you'd lasted so long.
With all game,
you had lasted.
But he'll be absolutely disappointed because he knows that game's a lot closer than what the result was. But
oh well, I thought you were going to go through the whole match without a David Tanchevsky, but you couldn't do it, unfortunately. But in terms of Charlestown and Dave Tanchevsky, now we're all going to struggle. In terms of Charlestown and Dave Tanchevsky, these are the matches that they want to win, and he'll be frustrated with this result against Maitland, a side that is going to be around about the mark this year in that fight for the finals, and he knows that they need to win these matches.
Yeah, that's right. And he said last week he thought that the team that they played against last week was very winnable. They had to mentally be prepared. In his word, there were 2 buses parked there, whatever the case may be, but he's played against a side today in Maitland that were very, very strong, but they put out a particularly good playing effort, and I like the way they kept possession. They're going to be in this competition for a long, long way, and a long way to go in this season.
Well, CT, I think that just about wraps it up for this afternoon. Great to have your company as well, and just a reminder to all those still watching that next Friday, Good Friday, it will be Lambton Jaffers and Western Bears who have got the job done this afternoon. Western, so they're in the top 4. Lambton are in 2nd place. That's going to be a great duel. It's going to be a great game, and if you get the opportunity to get over to the ground itself, the atmosphere will be fantastic. If you can't make it, we're looking forward to having you join us here on Bar TV. We are. Until next week, goodbye. Maitland 2, Charlestown 0, full time from Lyle Carr.